Welcome back to Double Al. I'm Al, here with the other Al, and we have our producer upgraded from production intern to producer, Joey. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. I gotta say, it feels great to hear that music. I know we did an episode a couple weeks ago, but now that we've got our first game of the season coming up tomorrow, fantasy football is about to start officially, so it feels good to hear that music.
Absolutely. As of recording this, we got the Bills-Rams game tomorrow night, and we're very excited to get things started.
Let's just say that this episode is brought to you by Angry Orchard. We have a couple of them here today. Crisp apple, nice refreshing taste. Joey, do you have any...
Yeah, also brought to you by some Crown Royale peach variety.
Did you buy that with your passport?
Yes,
Nice.
I did. I'm Mr. International.
Excellent.
All right, so for this preview episode, we're going to look through everybody's teams, our beginning rosters, and we're going to go in order of how bad ESPN thinks we are. So the projected standings in reverse, and then we'll go through week one's games. We'll look at the divisions that were randomly selected in our predictions there, and then our playoff predictions to end things off this episode.
Yep.
So we're going to start with Zane's team. ESPN thinks it is the worst team in the league. If we take a look at it, Lamar Jackson quarterback, it's all right.
It's solid. He'll have some games where he really puts up big numbers. I mean, I'm sure Joey can attest to this. Having him on his team last year, he'll have games where he puts up really big numbers, and he'll have some duds along the way. So
yeah, and ESPN's not a fan of the tight end strategy. Zane went round one, Travis Kelce, round two, Mark Andrews, and they did not appreciate that at all.
no.
And because of that strategy, he has no good running backs. Two great tight ends.
It was definitely a bold strategy from Zane. I think he was thinking that the amount of tight ends that actually make a difference on fantasy football teams is not as high as other positions. So he wanted to go ahead and get two right from underneath everybody, right out from underneath everybody, I should say.
Absolutely. Maybe some trade potentials.
Some trade potential for sure.
Although Travis Kelce as a flex is a pretty good flex.
That's a solid flex. I think maybe
That's a flex of a flex.
It is. That's a guy. I like the way. I like what you did there.
You like that joke, Joey? We have fun here.
Pretty good.
We do. Okay. I guess we should probably mention the elephant in the room before we go any farther. We have a new look to our production this year. We can thank producer Joey for that. We can't thank him for the slides, but we can thank him for the backgrounds of the slides.
Yeah, all 20 minutes of a lot of hard work went into this.
Yes. Well, this is why we're paying him the big bucks now.
Overall, I give Zane's draft a B minus.
You and I agree with that one. I also gave Zane's draft a B minus. I'm not as low on it as ESPN is, but I'm not super high on it.
All right, moving on to Bobby. We have both Mahelkis. The ESPN gods of projections did not like the Mahelkis teams this year.
They did not, no.
He has the MVP as quarterback, though, Aaron Rodgers. If he's not high in week one, maybe he'll do something good. Jerry Jeudy on that team, he has some upside.
True. I am very high on Jerry Jeudy this year. I was looking at his stats from last year a little bit, and he's a very good deep target. He gets open, but his quarterbacks, that being Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater in past years, have not been able to find him open. He doesn't get a lot of deep targets. He doesn't get very good opportunities in past seasons. But I think with Russell Wilson, who last year was one of the quarterbacks that was the best at throwing the ball deep, but his receivers were never open, I think that the combination there is going to really work out. So I'm very high on Jerry Jeudy going into this season.
Good take. I think so. Derrick Henry's obviously a great running back for fantasy.
Of course.
But Josh Jacobs, they're at RB2. I think he might struggle this year for fantasy production. He's been okay in the past.
Yeah.
Not too high on him this year.
I don't think it's a bad second running back to have. I think it's a solid one. It's a decent one. And I mean, with the receivers that he's got, I think he's got some great receivers. Freiermuth, I think, as well, is going to have a good season for Pittsburgh.
I do like Zane's team a little better than Bobby's team. I'm giving Bobby a C- for the draft.
I think I am much higher on Bobby's draft, and I think it has a lot to do with Jerry Jeudy. I actually gave him an A- on his draft.
Interesting. Joey, any insights on either of these teams before we move on?
Yeah, I'd say with Bobby's team, I'd probably give it probably a B or B minus. I'm curious to see how Rodgers is going to do without Devontae Adams and just his receiving core.
Really good point.
And then also with Josh Jacobs, as you mentioned, I've been seeing things where they're going to kind of go running back by committee with some of the rookies they have. I'm also really high on the Denver wide receivers to see how Russell Wilson does with them. I think Devontae Smith might pop off again this season as well.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I think Rodgers might not fare as well without Devontae Adams, but now that he has his ayahuasca, I think, hey, who knows? Maybe he'll make some
He's just
magic
happier.
happen. Yeah.
You gave Bobby a grade.
Also like Zane's strat about the tight ends. I like that. And then also
grade.
on his bench, Damian Pierce. I've heard a lot of rumors of him being one of the best rookies to come out of this season. So let's see how he does.
What would you give him as a grade?
I'd probably give him probably B plus, A minus.
All right. Moving on to 10th, Ryan. Looking at his team, he has some running back struggles, but he does have Jefferson as his wide receiver 1. He's probably going to be one of the top 2 wide receivers in fantasy production this year.
You would think.
And his tight end, Dawson Knox, I think he has a lot of upside.
I would agree. I think I agree with that. I think anybody on the Buffalo offense this year probably has quite a bit of upside. That being said, you wonder if Dawson Knox might struggle because they do have a lot of good offensive pieces in Buffalo. So I don't know. Maybe Dawson Knox gets less touches, but then again, he is a tight end, and tight ends can offer a lot of value, especially when you have such a good offensive team. So you never know. I like Dawson Knox. I think he's a good tight end to have.
All right. And Trevor Lawrence on the bench. The Jags are making the playoffs this year, so
that's true. Yeah,
so that's a good sleeper on his bench.
Having Trevor Lawrence on the bench, if nothing else, is a nice what if pick. If he, I think I'm high on Lawrence. Maybe not this season, but I mean the rest of the Jags are so bad that it's hard for Lawrence to do anything. But I mean, hey, you never know. He could turn it on this year and be even better than last year.
So what do you rank him at? What do you give him as a grade?
I gave him a B- as a draft grade.
I gave him a B-. You gave him a C+.
My apologies. Yeah, no, that's my bad. I gave him a C+ as a draft grade.
You want to change it?
No. I think that's appropriate. I'm not super in love with the team that Ryan has put together. Kyler Murray, I think, is more of a question mark than people think. The running backs, I don't know. Nick Chubb was a great option a few years ago, but I don't know. Justin Jefferson is really like the one standout player I see in a starting lineup, so I wasn't in love with Ryan's draft.
Yeah, I'm a little higher on Kyler than you are, so that's why I gave him a B- overall. Let's go on to the number 1 fantasy team for this upcoming season. That would be my team. I mean, just pieces all around. Dalvin Cook, great first pick. CeeDee Lamb coming in at round 2, just fantastic. I have 2 people with the last name Cook or Cooks. That's awesome. Hunter Henry, sleeper tight end. He could be top 3 tight ends at the end of the year.
It's a bold choice to go out on the air and say that.
I think I got a lot of strong upside potential with like Cam Akers. We don't know what he can do.
That's true. Coming back from a big-time injury. Travis Etienne also coming back from a big-time injury. So, yeah, you love to see what those 2 players can potentially bring to the table, or unfortunately potentially not bring to the table.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do like Amon-Ra St. Brown as your flex.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
that's a good choice.
Yeah, I think so.
I give myself an A-.
I think I gave you a B, but I think after reading all those names, I'm willing to upgrade that to a B+.
I appreciate it. I think Brandon Cooks is undervalued going into this fantasy season. I don't think he'll be amazing, but I think he'll be a really solid wide receiver too.
He is the Texans' first option at receiver.
He is, but he's on the Texans. So.
Joey, as a
Texans
as a former Texans fan, yes, I do like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like your team a lot, though. I think one thing that kind of stands out is just the RB2, Travis Etienne. Just I've been seeing things where James Robinson is looking to be the RB1 there. And then something that we don't mention a lot is just the bench. A lot of your bench players look very nice with Cam Akers, Bateman. So you have like a lot of depth there. So I really like that. It's something that I struggle to do with this draft, I think.
That is true.
And Isaiah McKenzie down there, if any of the Bills wide receivers get hurt, he could more action later in the season.
It's very true.
Not that I'm
a Bills player, really.
Don't hope that for anyone.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Yeah. All right. Any comments here, Joey, before we move on?
Just one with Ryan's team, just with Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to be really interested to see how he does with, I think, one of their Pro Bowl offensive linemen going down. So interested to see how that'll affect his performance.
Yeah, after my trade last year, I'm not super high on Ezekiel Elliott. Disappointed me last year, so.
Also, Dawson Knox signing a big contract. I think he's going to put up good numbers this year.
Okay.
All right, now we're looking at Owen's team. He's got some strong wide receivers there with Jamar Chase and Samuel and DJ Moore at flex. That's a pretty strong top 3 wide receivers that he has.
I would agree.
Where he struggles is, I mean, Aaron Jones is a great running back. They have him at RB2, but I think in general his running backs struggle with Breece Hall at RB1.
Mm-hmm.
That's just how his auto draft went this year.
Yeah.
I think we had one auto draft this year. It was Owen, and I think that's our least amount we've ever had.
I would agree. So good job to everybody in the league. And Owen has an excuse. So
someone was in trouble.
Yeah,
Owen works in an ambulance.
Yeah, so I would say to the league as a whole, good job. And you see that Aaron Jones next to how he was acquired. You have trade instead of draft. That is because I drafted Aaron Jones for Owen with my second pick because of our trade that we had last year. And in return, I got David Montgomery with Owen's 4th round pick.
Yep. So I think Owen's got a pretty strong team. I give him a B.
I give him a B+. I really like Jamar Chase and Deebo Samuel. I think they're both going to put up big numbers. And I think Aaron Jones is going to put up some big numbers too with Devontae Adams not being in Green Bay anymore. Breece Hall is a rookie, I believe, right? So, he could have a very, very good fantasy football season and surprise everybody. He could also be a whole lot of nothing. So I think it's a good chance for Owen to be taking, especially with how strong the rest of his team is.
Playoff potential of this team.
Absolutely, I would say so.
All right. Looking at Jeff's team, this is a pretty strong team overall. Wide receiver 1, Stephon Diggs. I think he's going to be the highest producing wide receiver this year for fantasy. That's my prediction.
Could be.
A.J. Brown going to the Eagles. I think he could really pop off this year.
Mm-hmm.
He could have a very good year. Sort of a reemergence of his career.
Yeah.
And the only question mark I really have on his team is Russell Wilson. Is he going to jive over in Broncos country?
I think Broncos country is going to ride this year for sure.
You think they're going to ride?
Yeah, I think Broncos country. It's time to ride.
Joey, as our resident Broncos fan, let's ride.
Yeah, Broncos country. Let's ride. I'm really high on all the Broncos guys. I think they're going to be a really good team.
Aaron Rodgers is also very high.
That's true. My question mark when it comes to Jeff's team is in regards to George Kittle. Much like the questions I've been very vocal about with Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle has also shown that he has been unable to consistently stay on the field the past couple of seasons. So I'm just wondering about that.
Point.
I think if he stays healthy, he's a great option. But
that's a good point.
Yeah, he needs to stay healthy.
Yeah, he does have a backup tight end, Smith Jr.
That's very true.
Don't know anything about him.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you much about him.
I do have questions about Wilson. However, he has Trey Lance on the bench, which I think will be a good backup option.
That's a good backup option. Trey Lance being named the starter for the 49ers, I think. It's a good.
Yeah, with that in mind, I'm giving Jeff my first A. He gets an A.
Okay. I'm giving Jeff an A-, so I think that he has a very good team.
Over to you, producer.
Yeah, I think I'd give him probably an A, close to an A plus. I think he has a really solid team. The things that concern me, I previously owned last year Elijah Mitchell and George Kittle, and I know they can both be kind of injury prone and be sometimes inconsistent, but when they're on and playing, they're both really solid. Receiving core is so solid with his flex. AJ Brown too, again really high on Russell Wilson. His bench has a lot of depth too with AJ Dillon, some rookies there with Sky Moore, and then going over to Owen. Just concerned about Brees Hall. I think I'm really high on the rookie wide receivers this year, and I'm not so sure about the running backs. He has Drake London, who I think will be good. A lot of his bench seemed questionable, but I think if they are healthy, they could be very productive this year, especially Michael Thomas. So
I like it.
Yeah.
Owen had a great pick with Zach Wilson.
Very true.
Really good rushing touchdown last year.
Wish I saw it. Yeah, I wish I saw it too.
How was it, Joey?
It was amazing.
I wish I didn't see. I shouldn't say that I didn't see it. I saw little bits and pieces of it from the
Jumbotron,
from the concourse while it was happening.
Not angry about that. Maybe we'll see it again this year. Who knows?
We did get to see a big man touchdown, so
that's all I care about. All right, Ian, Mr. number one pick going into this year because of St. Peter's.
Mr. Britboy, yeah, St. Peter's.
That's not a team that you're ever going to hear of again.
No. One of my worst takes I've ever made regarding sports.
But John Taylor's going to be amazing. Keenan Allen is going to be amazing at his wide receiver one. Overall, pretty strong. He's got a strong flex with Marquise Brown. I don't know how I feel about Hunter Renfrow. We'll see how that goes. But overall, a pretty strong team. When my guy Dalvin Cook gets hurt in week 8, Alexander Madison is going to be the backup. So that's good. That's always a great pick.
I'm not super high on Ian's team. Marquise Brown, it'll be interesting to see what happens in Arizona with DeAndre Hopkins' suspension for the first 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well, speaking of suspensions, he's got Deshaun Watson down there on the bench.
Very true. So, I don't know. We'll see. Marquise Brown might be the wide receiver one for Arizona, I think. Maybe AJ Green, but probably I'd say Marquise Brown. So, that might be a great flex. He might get a lot of targets, especially until Hopkins comes back. So,
can we ask the commissioner for a suspended slot as well as an IR?
That might be something to bring up.
Ian, you should ask for that. But yeah, overall, pretty strong team. I think I'm giving him an A-. I think he did very well.
Yeah, I wrote down C+, which I think, in retrospect, is a little unfair. So I'm going to give Ian a B because I'm not super high on the team, but I think it's overall solid. So I think he has an outside shot at the playoffs, maybe even better than an outside shot, but I wouldn't list him as one of the favorites right now.
Okay. All right. And now we look at your team.
Yeah.
I think you have a pretty strong team going into this year. You're pretty happy.
I am very happy with my team.
ESPN has you listed at, let's see, 5th. So that's playoff team.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. Justin Herbert's a great quarterback. Is this your second year having him?
Yeah.
And he did well for you last year,
Very
except
well.
for when you didn't make the playoffs. Eckler's a pretty good first pick.
Yes.
Juju could do really good things with Patrick Mahomes. That we'll have to wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any hope for Gesicki, though.
No hope for Gesicki.
No hope for Gesicki. There's a lot of targets down there with the Dolphins now. So
Hill and Waddle, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. You have a strong running back core, though, with Eckler and Connor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's one thing I really tried to focus on this year with the draft was getting a good running back core because
you did that.
In past years, especially last year, I was very receiver heavy, and I find it better whenever I have top running backs. So
yeah, and you definitely do. Your wide receivers are gonna probably be the deciding factor, and if you make a playoff run or not.
I would agree.
And you don't see a lot of running backs starting in flex in week 1, so Good for
Yeah,
you.
I don't know. I'm debating between keeping David Montgomery in there, maybe moving Adam Thielen up. I don't know. AJ Green is definitely a possibility. Like I said before, DeAndre Hopkins suspension. I got AJ Green in free agency. Unfortunately, I had to do a very blasphemous move and drop Scotty Miller to pick up AJ Green. But
You're gonna miss the playoffs.
I think I might. I'm not low.
Are you a proud BG alumni?
I am, and I would hope that I can be forgiven this one time. I'm sure I will get him back at some point.
Joey, pick him up.
I do like Mike Gesicki. Tight ends, I know they can always vulture touchdowns.
I think you just like you went to Penn State.
Well, I think he's not the best tight end, but he's serviceable, and he'll have games. He's always had games where he'll go for like 20 points, and then he'll have games where he goes for like 6. So I just have to hope that his low games, the rest of my team picks up the pace. And I'm very interested to see Deontay Johnson and Juju Smith-Schuster, how they perform, because I feel like they could really make or break my season.
Yeah, agreed. I'll be honest, the only reason I don't like Gesicki is I saw a YouTube short with all caps title that said, "Don't pick up this tight end this fantasy year." So we only do our best sort of research here at Double L with the most reliable sources, some random guy on YouTube shorts. My phone heard that I was talking about fantasy a lot, so I got a lot of recommended fantasy content.
Of course, yeah.
Joey.
Yeah, as much as I hate to say it, as you are in my division, I think you have a really solid team.
A- draft right here. A- draft.
In hindsight, I really do like the move of going triple running back to start, as I think there's a lot of depth, especially in a PPR league, to grab wide receivers late. I think Juju, I know he deal with some injury. If he's going to be healthy, I think he could be really valuable to Kansas City. The bench too, I think, has a lot of depth with Adam Thielen. I think he's just a great wide receiver 4. You could throw in like wherever the flex, wide receiver 2 or 1 in case of injury. Again, as I said, with the rookie wide receivers, I'm really high on. I think Chris Olave might be really good this year as a wide receiver 2 for the Saints. And then over with Ian, just some concerns. I wonder how Dak Prescott will do again with that Pro Bowl offensive lineman kind of out. And then I've heard rumors of Denver kind of doing a running back by committee with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. I really like his receiving core though, with Keenan Allen, Marquise Brown, as DeAndre Hopkins is out, and then Hunter Renfrow I think is very underrated. I think he's like an incredible route runner. He also has some pretty good depth as well.
Even with Devontae Adams over in Vegas?
Yeah, I think you'll still see some action because their running back core isn't the strongest. So I think they'll be airing it out a lot. So he should be pretty nice with a target share.
Nice. Yeah, I don't know. Did we give our grades for Ian's, right?
I said you got an A-.
I gave myself an A.
Of course, he did.
Yeah, I mean,
gave himself an A.
Yeah,
it's a good team. It's a good team.
Yeah, I'm betting on myself.
It's a good team. All right, into the top 4 teams as ESPN predicts. Pranav in his first draft in our league apparently had a pretty good one, and I agree.
I agree as well.
He has a very good wide receiver core with Cooper Kupp and Pittman Jr. Cooper Kupp, had a pretty historic season last year. Can he repeat that?
Probably not,
but he'll still be top 3 wide receivers in fantasy as long as he stays healthy.
He could be the top 1 receiver in fantasy and not be as good as he was last year. So.
And I mean, Barkley, I don't know what round he got him in, but he was way undervalued in the draft. Barkley honestly could have a very, very good season.
He could
if he stays healthy.
I think if he stays healthy, I think J.K. Dobbins again. If he stays healthy, he's coming off a very significant either ACL or Achilles injury, I believe. And he also has he's got DeAndre Hopkins, who's suspended, and then he has
what did that end up being, a 4-week suspension?
I think 6
weeks. Okay,
yep.
So they'll have him a little bit later.
Amari Cooper, who has been really good in past years in fantasy, although now he is in Cleveland with who's their I know who their quarterback is.
He played for the Colts. Brissett?
Jacoby Brissett, I believe. So
Yeah.
that's not it's not as good as his past quarterbacks that he's had. So I think getting Amari Cooper was a good move, and I think having him week 1 on the bench is a good move too. I like that a lot. Amari Cooper could be very good, and he could also not. So
Jacoby Brissett came into a bad situation with the Colts in Indianapolis, and I think he did okay. So, on the bench week 1, probably a good idea.
Yeah.
I have something similar with Cam Akers. Not really. He's just unproven. That's why I have him on the bench.
Cam Akers also coming off a pretty significant injury.
Yeah, so not the same at all, but on the bench because we're uncertain.
Yeah,
that's where we draw the similarities. And Burrow, he got hurt in his first season, and last season he made it to the Super Bowl. So, how can you predict?
I expect good things from Joe Burrow. I think he'll be great. I think Joe Burrow is a great quarterback to have on your fantasy team, honestly.
Okay.
I think, and that's why I gave Pranav an A.
Yeah, and I give Pranav an A- in his first season at the draft. Very nice. Joey?
Yeah, I really like his team. I think the only concern might be J.K. Dobbins at the RB2 just because he's dealing with injuries. And I wonder how long that's going to affect him in the season, although you can always move Antonio Gibson into that spot. And then he has a pretty good bench with Amari Cooper. I think the pickup of Hopkins is going to be really good later in the season. And it's going to be interesting to see how Dubes with Green Bay and just their kind of new receiving core without Devontae Adams. I think Darren Waller is going to be a stud as well.
Yeah.
And Michael Pittman Jr. is a nice RB or wide receiver too.
Glossed over Darren Waller, but yeah, he's a good one of the better tight ends in the league.
He's awesome.
Yeah.
He's not. I wouldn't put him in the top 3. With Kyle Pitts and the 2 that Zane has. But
yeah, he might be
4 or 5.
Yeah.
I think Devontae Adams might take some targets away from him, but he'll still be really.
That's true. So. That's true. We'll see. Moving on to Dom, who had the best draft he's ever had, and one of the best drafts from this year. ESPN had him ranked at 3. He's been moving around from ESPN's projections on winning the league for the past 2 weeks. So he's got to be pretty happy.
I would be.
He has, I think, 3 players that could put up the most amount of points at their position. Those being Josh Allen, he could be QB1 in fantasy this year. Kyle Pitts, and Justin Tucker at kicker. They could all, and that could win him quite a bit of money.
Yeah, and don't forget about the fact that he has Devontae Adams at wide receiver too.
And Devontae Adams as well.
Yeah.
Kamara, Elijah Moore at flex. This is a pretty good team.
The one thing that worries me about Dom's team is because Alvin Kamara's court date keeps getting pushed back for his assault that happened last year. Yeah, exactly like that.
Don't sue me.
Last year in Vegas. Vegas was the Pro Bowl?
Yep.
Yeah, last year in Vegas. He assaulted somebody in a casino, I believe.
Allegedly,
his court date keeps getting moved back. So once that is resolved, I feel like we'll probably see a suspension of Alvin Kamara, maybe.
And when that happens, we'll bring it to you first here on Double L.
Of course,
we love our journalism.
Yeah, no, for sure. But honestly, looking at Dom's team, everything else, I don't see a weakness in his starting lineup. I honestly don't.
Yeah, not in the starting lineup. Maybe a little bit of depth, during bye weeks. Maybe that'll be an issue.
Yeah.
But honestly, if he's starting this team right here, I give him an A+.
Yeah. I mean, maybe his flex could be better, Elijah Moore, but I think Elijah Moore's fine.
And Edwards-Helaire, RB2.
I think that's fine. I mean,
again, he's had questionable fantasy seasons, but
if Kamara ends up getting, I don't foresee his suspension whenever that comes. I don't foresee it being a super long one, just with the way that suspensions have been playing out in the NFL in recent seasons. But I think there probably will be at least a few games that Kamara's going to have to miss.
And who's his next running back? He's got Melvin Gordon. That could take him for a few weeks.
Yeah, I think, like Joey said, the Melvin Gordon might really benefit from the running back by committee that they're doing in
What's
Denver.
the going penalty for an assault? Like 4 to 6 weeks?
I know. I honestly couldn't tell you.
Joey, any predictions there? Did you give your?
Sorry, I think we both agreed that Dom
Had
an A plus.
A plus. Good job, Dom.
Good job, Dom.
Good job, Dom.
Yeah, I'd probably say like A minus to an A. He has like a really solid squad. I'm just concerned about he's kind of like mine in terms of like the running back position with RB2. I think Clyde Edwards-Helaire can be really good, but then just I'm not so sure about Melvin Gordon and then Kenneth Gainwell. I really like Cortland Sutton though as the wide receiver too. I think he'll be a favorite for Russell Wilson. And then I guess the two things that would be worrying to me is Kyle Pitts now that Matt Ryan's gone. I believe it's now Marcus Mariota as Atlanta's quarterback. And then Elijah Moore as the Jets wide receiver. Is he the wide receiver one? Looking at his stats, it looks a little inconsistent, but in the middle of the season, he looked to do really well. So we'll see how he does this season.
Don't sleep on the Buccaneers defense either. That could be his 4th top scoring player.
Very true. I think Kyle Pitts won't have much to worry about when it comes to not having Matt Ryan, because I think Kyle Pitts is easily the best player on that team now. So I think regardless, he's going to get a lot of targets and a lot of touches. So I think not having Matt Ryan is a legitimate concern, but I don't think it's going to affect Kyle Pitts as much as it's going to affect a lot of other members of the Falcons.
Interesting.
I say that's fair.
Any grades you want to give? I think you gave him an A minus to A.
Yeah, I'd probably say that. And then for Pronos, I'd probably say A.
Okay. I mean, this is the top. According to ESPN. In the top 2 teams, we have Devon.
Ugh. I guess we should say defending champion Devon.
Defending champion with a little asterisk.
Yeah.
Devon. He has a pretty good team, although CMC is going to get hurt in week 3. Left ACL.
Okay.
And right Achilles in the same one fall.
Okay.
Not that I hope for that, but CMC and DeAndre Swift, that's a very good running back core. If they stay healthy, with Patrick Mahomes, who isn't the Patrick Mahomes of 2 years ago for fantasy, but still, he's Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be very good for fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Gabe Davis, don't sleep on him. Stephon Diggs is going to be getting a lot of coverage, so he could see a lot of action as well.
Mm-hmm.
And Allen Robinson, I don't even know what to think of Allen Robinson yet. People are very high on him, so I won't.
I don't know. Devon's team, I think, could be very boom or bust. I think Mahomes will be good. Christian McCaffrey, I don't trust not to get hurt. DeAndre Swift, I think, is going to be good. I have concerns with his wide receiver core because neither of them are their respective team's wide receiver one.
That's true.
I think they're both on the depth chart as wide receiver 2 for their respective teams,
mm-hmm.
which, I mean, it could be worse, but it also could be better.
It could be worse.
TJ Hawkinson, I think, is a good tight end. He'll be good. Tyler Lockett, I don't know where Seattle has Lockett on their depth chart, but Lockett, I think, I remember from last year being a very boom or bust player. He either put up 25 or 4, and then the Ravens D is good, and then Tyler Bass is also a good kicker.
Yeah, so I think ESPN likes Patrick Mahomes. They like the really good running back core and the good tight end, TJ Hawkinson. I think that's why they have him at number 2.
Yeah, I think a lot of Devon's season will depend on whether or not Christian McCaffrey gets hurt.
Mm-hmm. And that's a very big. I mean, that was his first pick.
Yeah,
so that's a very big ask. And props to Devon. He did this without a 3rd round pick. So
that's true.
That's why we see his wide receivers not being wide receiver 1s, being wide receiver 2 on their teams. But he got good ones there.
Yeah.
And overall, I'd rather have my team, and that's why I'm giving him a B plus because I gave myself an A minus.
Okay.
But I think it's still a very decent team.
I have been very vocal about thinking that Christian McCaffrey is not a good option because of his injury history. So because I said that Devon's team could ride on whether or not McCaffrey stays healthy, I'm giving him a B minus.
Over to Joey.
Hot take with a B-. I think his team is very solid. Kind
Get
of
out of
looking
here.
at this side by side, I see a lot of similarities kind of with our
All
team
right,
where
back to
both
double
his
L.
both his wide receivers are both kind of the wide receiver two of their teams. But if you think if those teams elite wide receiver ones, you're going to get a lot of like coverage. I think those wide receiver twos can pop off. Likewise with my T Higgins and Jalen Waddle. I think as long as his whole like starting team stays healthy, it's just going to be a powerhouse. He also has a lot of depth too. In case of injury, with Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Cordell Patterson, yeah, I think he's a solid lineup. I don't think Christian McCaffrey honestly gets injured again for like the third or fourth time. I think he's going to be fine.
Um, Another manager from our league, Owen, had the same opinion. He thinks CMC will stay healthy.
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
don't trust it.
I don't trust it.
He's proven his inability to stay on the field in the past like 3 seasons.
Feel free to prove us wrong, Devon, but I don't think you're making the playoffs.
I think
you can clip this and bring it up later if you do end up making the playoffs and winning, but you're not going to.
If he stays on the field, great. I think Devon will have a great shot at the playoffs if he stays on the field, but I don't trust it as much as other people do.
Devon might as well trade away his players for future picks. Call it a season.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, I gave him a B plus. Pretty good team. And going into what ESPN called the best team of the draft, not production intern, producer himself, Joey. We'll let you lead it off. Talk about your team.
Thank you, thank you. I don't know if I'm still number one because I think I checked the standings and it might have been Dom or Devon.
Well, this is from the draft. They have changed around a little bit. I'll let you know in a second.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I really like my squad. I kind of always go by the starters first and then kind of go bench late. So I'll go like defense and kicker kind of mid-roundish. Maybe around like 8th or 10th round. I think I picked up the Bills defense in round 8 just because I know I think defenses can kind of be underrated. And if you get a top one, they can score a lot of points. I'm really high on my rookie wide receivers that I got with Pierce and Pickens. I think the only concern that I have with my team is the running back position. Just in the event that Harris or Fournette do go down, I think my third string running back to replace them is looking a little rough with Rex Burkhead or James Cook. Although I do think James Cook could be a very valuable asset for the Bills. Kadarius, I do like my wide receiver depth though, and then Jalen Hurts, of course, I think is amazing for fantasy. And then my flex position, I think Christian Kirk will be pretty underrated as the wide receiver one and signing a pretty decent contract for Jacksonville. So
yeah,
I really like my team.
Everyone is high on Jalen Hurts. Everyone's high on Najee Harris. Everyone's pretty high on T. Higgins, even though Jamar Chase is the wide receiver one there. And everyone's, Waddle has some mixed opinions, but your team is either all hype or you're going to win the Shree Run.
And I have NFL young boy and George Pickens.
Yeah, I do notice a lot of wide receiver depth on your bench. I think it's pretty rare to see a bench that has only wide receivers and running backs and only 2 running backs.
Yeah, why do you have so many wide receivers?
No tight ends.
Waiver wire boys.
You really like Kadarius Toney, so
as long as he stays healthy, I think he can be.
Do you believe in the New York Giants as an organization?
As long as he stays healthy and as long as
I think with Brian Dable as the head coach, I might. In their offense, I'm not so sure about their defense.
Kadarius Toney, I think they need to use him correctly, and then I think he'll be good. But yeah, I mean, I think Toney will be fine, and he's a good bench option for sure.
I think James Cook might be like really valuable because I know Devin Singletary is not really like a receiving guy, and I think James Cook can kind of help them there. So hopefully that kind of pans out.
All right. What do you give Joey?
I gave Joey a B plus. I think the team, like Alex was saying, could be all hype or could be very legit. And I think I'm not as high on Jalen Hurts as a lot of people are. I think he'll be fine, but I don't know if he's going to be as good as people are saying. And again, I have the same thoughts about Joey's wide receivers as I had about Devon's, about how neither of them are wide receiver ones on their team, but Joey did make a good point about how they could still get a lot of touches. So I think B plus is a pretty good grade. I think a B plus team is a good team. I maybe the team will prove me wrong and actually be legit, or maybe they'll just be decent.
Okay. Joey, what do you give yourself?
I'd probably give myself an A minus. I just think the only flaw might be the running back backup position, but I'm a big fan of it.
Okay. Moving on to the divisions. I think we might have covered this last episode. I can't remember. But Division 1 is Jeff, Dom, Owen, myself. Division 2, probably one of the harder divisions today.
Yeah.
Joey and Alan. Zane and Devon.
Not the first time Joey and I have been in the same division.
And remind me what happened last season?
Division 3 is Ryan, Ian, Bobby, and Pranov. So you want to go through and give us your predictions on who's winning each one of these divisions?
Yeah, I would say division names are coming soon.
Division names to come soon. Division 1's got some good names in the workshop.
Yeah, I think, Division 2, Joey and I, without discussing it with our other two division mates, our division last year was simply named Division 2, and I think that we are both fans of naming it Division 2 Electric Boogaloo this year. So that might be the official change. But yeah, let's go through some predictions on divisions. I think right now I have Dom winning Division 1. I have myself winning Division 2 because I got to bet on myself. And I think my team is legitimately very good. And I have Pranav winning Division 3.
Interesting. In his first year in the league.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Division 1, I think it could be close. Jeff and Dom, we all have pretty good teams.
Yeah.
I gave Dom an A+ from the draft, and I really like my team as well. But I do think Dom is going to come away and win this division. I agree with you there. From your division, I think Joey does have the strongest team there. I'm going to give that one to him. And for Division 3, I go back and forth between Ian and Pranov. I'm going to give it to Ian. Ian had the highest fantasy score from last year.
That's true.
I think he's just a smart fantasy player.
I would agree.
This is the Ian fan club over here. We are always very positive towards him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dom, Joey, and Ian. Joey, you want to give us your predictions?
Yeah, I think just off the top of my head, I really like Jeff with Division 1. I think Dom makes a strong case for it too. I think in our division, it's so close. I think it could be really anybody's game. I really like you always got to go with yourself, right? I really like Alan's team though. I think that was very solid, and then Devon's team always is very solid. I will be interested to see how Zane's team does with the 2 tight end spots. Division 3, I think I really like I think Pranav and Ryan's team, and then probably Ian's team 3rd, Bobby's team 4th. Yeah, I think everybody drafted really well though. I think it's anybody's game.
Yeah, I think we have some pretty good parity this year.
I would agree.
And here are the week 1 matchups. Finally getting to our week 1 matchups. I'm just going to run through them real quick. Joey, you're taking on Jeff. Both teams are pretty strong. The Mahelke Bowl in week 1, Bobby and Zane. You're taking on your husband, Ian, not legally, just semi-officially.
Yeah.
Dom and Ryan, Owen and Pranov, and then I will be rematching Devon in a rematch of the Shriram Bowl from last year. Devon and I have met up in the Shriram Bowl 4 times now, out of 5 seasons. So we're pretty good, us two. So this should be the matchup to watch for everyone. Everyone should pay attention to this one. The winner of this matchup could be the winner of the Shriram. And Devon's not winning week 1.
You're getting a little ahead of yourself here.
Nope, not at all. I like my team. But take us through your predictions for week 1.
All right. I think Joey is going to come out on top over Jeff. I think Bobby beats Zane. I'm sticking with the left side of the board and going with myself over Ian. I think Dom is going to beat Ryan. I think I have Pranav over Owen, and then I have you over Devon.
All right. I like that last one.
Yeah,
I like that
I'm
last
sure
one.
you do. I'm sure you do.
I'm going to disagree with you in week 1 and 2. I think Jeff is going to beat Joey.
Okay.
Joey, I do think you're going to win your division, but just looking at the projections, week 1's pretty close, and I think Jeff's going to come out on top. From the Mahelke Bowl, I think Zane has it. So you took Bobby, I'm taking Zane. I think you have the matchup against Ian. I really like your team. I'm going to take Dom versus Ryan. Dom could win 11 games this year.
He could.
He could win 12 games this year. He could have a really good year. I hope that's not me jinxing him. We'll see. But if it is, that's okay. He's in my division.
Excuse me.
You a little tired?
Yeah, well,
we are recording this at, it is 12:30.
It's 12:50. It's
12:50. It's almost 1 a.m.
On a weekday, but the season starts tomorrow and we have to bring our.
We have to grind.
Double Al gets the job done.
Yeah.
Double Al
show
will
goes
always
on.
bring up. Yeah, we will always bring it to the fans.
Of course.
I agree with you that. Did you say Pranav's beating Owen? It's pretty late.
I think I did say that Pranav was going to beat Owen. Yes.
I agree. His first matchup in the league, it's gonna be a dub, and I'm gonna beat Devon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna beat Devon.
Yeah.
There's no competition there. It could be close, but don't touch the mic.
Sorry.
Joey, do you have any hot takes?
Yeah, I'll kind of just go rapid fire here. I always gotta go with yourself, right? Gotta believe in yourself.
Not always, but yeah.
I think I'll hopefully come out on top of Jeff. I think Zane's got it there. I think Alan's got it. I think Dom will come out on top. I think Pranav, and then I think Devon. That's what I got.
Did you just say Devon's gonna win?
You want to kick him from the call?
In week 1, yeah, I'm gonna kick him from the call. Down to production intern again.
Yeah.
And I would not want that to happen, but I think that's what might happen.
Thank you for that stipulation at the end. I appreciate it. I appreciate that.
Of course.
Joey, we don't have your playoff predictions here, so we'll go through ours, and you're just gonna have to do yours verbally. That's what's gonna happen.
Of course.
But I'll start. I predicted the 3 division winners were going to be Dom, Mr. Producer himself, Joey, and Ian. And I think the other 3 people going in will be myself, Jeff, and Pranav. That means Division 1 will have 3 representatives. Division 2 will just have Joey. I'm sorry. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close. Division 3 will have 2 representatives, Ian and Pranav. I think you and Pranav are going to tie your records, and then he's just going to have more points for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm noticing a bit of a distinct lack of a certain team in your playoff predictions.
There's lacks of 2 good teams here. That's you. I think you're going to, as I said, tie Pranav, and he's going to just have more points for. And I think Devon's not going to make it because of CMC.
I'm like Baker Mayfield. I need something to prove, and then I perform.
Okay.
Yeah. That being said, I also didn't choose you for my playoff predictions.
And that is okay. That is all right.
I have Dom, myself, and Pranav as the division winners. I think Joey's team is too good not to make the playoffs. I really do like Bobby's team a lot. I think he's going to make his way in. And then I think Jeff's going to make it.
All right. I think that Bobby choice is interesting.
Yeah, he's my sleeper.
He's your sleeper. Okay. Joey, go ahead.
Prove me right, Bobby.
Prove him right.
I don't know if this could happen, but I think we have such a strong division, Alan, that I like you, me, and Devon to go to the playoffs. And I think I like Ian.
Possible.
And I think I like Jeff's team. So that makes 5.
Yes.
I think either Dom, Alex, or Pranav as those last teams. That's a toss-up. But I really like all the teams from my division. If all 4 could get in, I think that would happen.
All 4 can get in, and then you got to choose one more.
Yeah, Joe, you got to make a commitment here.
I'd probably say Ian's team.
Okay. So all of Division 2.
Except for Zane.
Except Zane.
Yeah.
You have Was it Dom and Jeff and then Pranav?
Yes.
No, it was Ian. It was Jeff and Ian.
Okay.
I'd say down Jeff Ian. Yeah, I like that.
I'm trying to use my active listening skills, but it's 1 a.m.
No, you never were much of a listener.
No, more of a talker. I'm more of a talker myself. All right, I will write these down afterwards, and we'll revisit these at the end of the season, and we'll see just how wrong we were, because we are never right about any of these things.
Yeah, it's the beginning of the season. A lot can happen.
I think we averaged about 70% for just individual game predictions, so it's better than 50.
That's true.
But not
Take
great.
those odds.
All
right. Thank you.
Football is back.
Football
is back, and that means the Mannings are back.
The Mannings are back. When this is posted, football will be back tonight. This will be posted on Thursday.
Yeah.
Technically, it is Thursday.
It is Thursday. Yeah.
We got some great Manning pictures here.
Of course. You see, I don't know if you can see there over towards the right next to the dolly image of Eli, just the terrifying image. We have a new Peyton pick. And then in the top, we have a bit of a meme that was shared to us by producer Joey, because, that's the Step Brothers poster, but with Eli and Peyton. And then in the top, you have Tom Brady crying because the Mannings have historically given Tom Brady a hard time. So
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Does anyone here have word on if Manning Monday is continuing this season?
I believe I heard that it is. Let me do a little research.
I really hope it is. That's my favorite way to watch football on Monday.
Full information right here.
Is the Manning
we're
cast coming back? Peyton and Eli signed extension to continue Manning
Through
cast through
2024.
2024.
Let's
We
go.
love to
This
see
is
that.
a great day, even though it happened in February.
Great news here. So we will be seeing
Breaking news on Double L.
Peyton and Eli on Monday night. What is the Monday night game?
Ooh,
I think it's Russell Wilson.
is it Giants?
No. Yeah, it's Seahawks Broncos.
Okay.
So revenge game right there.
Former Peyton Manning team.
Former Peyton team.
Former Peyton team. Joey has
Former
made a
Peyton
point.
Super Bowl team.
Joey has made a point that last time a really, really good quarterback went to the Broncos, they won a Super Bowl.
He did. I think a couple seasons in. It wasn't his first season.
No, he
Second
got
season, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that just about does it for us this episode.
Yeah, I mean, if anyone wants to come onto the show, want to send in fan comments, make sure you leave those
Please.
down in the comments.
We would love to have. We would love to continue our tradition of bringing on guests. Maybe in a few weeks, we'll do another one of our big time guest episodes like we did a couple times last year.
We would love to have Russell Wilson on after his Monday night game if he's available.
True.
Make sure you like the video, subscribe.
Thank you for tuning in to Double L Season 2, Episode 1, season preview. We will hopefully be getting episodes back to you on Tuesdays in the near future, the day after the Monday night game. It was just a bit of a weird schedule this week. Hence why we're coming to you at almost 1 a.m. So, thank you for tuning in to Double L, and we will see you next Tuesday.